So this is going to be in 2 different sessions, but anyway, I started to take this off. So let's take it off. Just a second. I better pin so that we can see it. And again, I have my spirit gum on under there. So, and cotton balls. You see that I'm taking this all the way off. My cotton is still there, and this has come off in one piece. I can remove that, but I was going to show you a little bit about how to do a broken nose, which is a bit of an accident victim, but I can use this same piece and just have it go over. Generally, when you break your nose, it's going to be right on this bump right here. So you're going to get a lump. And some things that's good to look at is a, you guys can't see that very well here, is a boxer. They really end up getting their faces mashed up. Then to enhance that, here you can see it here and here, you would have to put in some shadow because right now you can't see it, right? It's very subtle from this distance. So you'd want to put in your character shadow. And you can see that now my nose is bent over to the side. And you would then highlight down the center to get a little bit more of that shape happening. And now you can just put your foundation on. Okay. So it's extreme, when a little bit extreme close up, but you could then do a baby wipe, as she said, and just remove slightly. She's using a baby wipe to just lift off some of the color, but I can also use my sponge. I want to make it just a little bit less, and then stipple, and then you've got your broken nose. Okay, I am ready to show you a couple of cool things. I was talking about this in class today. You can use your latex to create really interesting textures. This is a product called cheesecloth with your latex. You can also do latex with tissue and create some skin effect. I have another piece of latex, and I'll show you how to do that with our saran wrap. This is a piece of skin made on a piece of saran wrap. So here's my saran wrap side. That's my open side. As I peeled it off, it created a nice smooth surface. It's a bit shiny, but I can apply it and make an application and rub my edges in. So you can see that there's some pore activity here. It's too uniform to be pores, but you can then do something very, very durable with, this is just a plain latex and your saran wrap with cheesecloth in the center. And I'll show you what the cheesecloth looks like without that. Let me take this off again. So that we can have the regular face, and then you want to use your nose and scar wax or your spear gum remover and your 99% alcohol to get that off. And then it pretty much comes off completely. So if I take my eyebrow covers, which would be something three-dimensional that we had discussed before, and painted my latex on them, we're going to do that now. Remember, I'm using the back side so that I don't get this transferred onto my board, and I don't want it to transfer onto my countertop. So let's go to the countertop where I have the gelatin set up. There are a few other things here that we're going to look at. One thing about saran wrap is if you wet your surface, saran wrap will literally go right down to it. So I have my piece. Right and left, putting it down so it's on my surface. So you can probably just barely see the markings that I made, okay? And I'll get my latex. I have my gelatin here, and I have my hot water. I spent my whole time going over to the library and getting locked out instead of being able to set up my stuff. So, okay, my latex, you guys have it. Always shake it really well so that you don't get a hard lump. This is like nail polish. You really do want to make sure that you shake it. Now I can feel it moving. All right, I have my pieces marked. And remember, I want to, let me see if I can make this better. There you go. go. That's better. I'm going to layer this in. I'm just going to use the brush because this is what you guys have. And you want a very fine layer inside your mark. Remember, I'm working on the back side so the mark does not transfer to my latex. And this would be a three-dimensional effect. So you want to do a very thin layer and then a thin layer for the left. And we're going to let those dry. And in between the layers, before I add another layer, I'm going to powder. Meanwhile, I'll show you all about the gelatin. So here's the gelatin. This is just regular gelatin that you can buy in the grocery store. Comes in packets. It's like Jell-O, but it doesn't have any sugar or any fruit. To make a modest amount, you can use just half a package. We have these small little custard dishes. I bought them. You know, you can use anything. You can use some yogurt containers. And this is roughly a good tablespoon of material. So you can see inside. And I will put in about half of that into my container. And then I'll fold this up and then put a piece of tape on that before I put it back in so that I don't have these little tiny granules moving everywhere. You can sort of hear this as well. This is a sort of a fake skin technique also. You want to add your water a small amount at a time, and it should be hot because you're trying to dissolve it. If you add too much water, it'll just get liquidy, and then you can work with it as it cures. Okay, so there's a cure rate to this. Has a small amount of time that it's actually viable. You can see it's this buff color. And now I have that sort of cake mix consistency. I want to get it just a little bit more before I apply it. And I can apply this directly to my skin. It will not harm me. It's something that can be eaten. So I know that it is non-toxic. So if I wanted to create a burn effect or a extreme scarring, I can put this on. I can create shape in it. And then once this cures, we can actually put makeup on it. You might want that sort of slippery look as well. But you can create all kinds of divots in that, bumps, and it can just stick right onto the skin. Now, this is a one-time use only. You will not reuse this. When you peel this off, it's dead, right? So now we're letting two things cure. We have this, that's done. And we have our eyebrows. Let's see how they're doing. Okay, I'm gonna just, they're a little bit tacky. So while we're waiting for those, we're gonna do one other technique. And we can put latex directly onto the body. So I'm gonna just powder these by putting my powder here. And then I'm going to use my Q-tip. So I'm not massively putting powder on. Oops, my water dried out down below. I'm just powdering it lightly, okay? Now I'm ready to do a second coat. Let's see if I can get water back underneath there. So I'm going to lift this up and get my water back underneath here so that this will stick back down again so that you can take a look. There we go. Now I'm ready for my second coat of latex. Shake it up again. Just lost it. And I'm going right over my powder. The powder creates dimension because latex is pretty fragile, so we don't want to have it stretched out of shape. These would then be applied to your eyebrows after you glue stick them or spear them down with an adhesive, not latex. Okay, those are letting to dry. This is completely dry now. The gelatin has dried, and it's dried in here in our container. So you can see I can just lift it straight up, right? So there's some pretty fun, flexible things you can do with this. And now I can have this wound on my hand. I can powder it down. I'll just powder first to show you because it's kind of skin tone. They're going to wonder what happened to this computer. When they get it back and it has all these different things on it. Okay, so I have this really great looking stuff and I can easily make this up. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put latex on part of my hand and show you how to create a latex effect. Okay. Boy, I'm trying to figure out how to make you see this. There we go. And now let's paint the latex on. So latex can go on your hand or on any place that does not have hair. It's absolutely fine. It's safe. It's just that it is a strong adhesive. And if you were to rip that off, you're going to rip out some of the hairs that are in here. I'm going to go back. Sorry, I have to move my makeup kit over here. So in addition to this latex, one of your great things is you want to apply 3D is you can tear a tissue in half. So tissues are layers. There we go. And tear it in half this way. So that you have a finer thing to work with. This is like doing the fake skin that I discussed earlier. And here's my latex starting to work. I can put my skin on here and then latex on top of that. And then once we do this, also can create makeup coloring on this as well. It works really well with latex. So you want your edges and your centers down so that the latex makes a firm grip on everything, because you're creating an alternate surface. I'm just going to get rid of this piece. Let's see, what can I do with it? I could take it up to there. Okay, now we can keep this in this stance, and then this will create an extra wrinkled hand. Meanwhile, I'm going to put makeup on this with my sponge. So this accepts makeup very, very well. Oh man, I'm sorry, you guys. Here, maybe it was better this way. Is this easier to see?
That gelatin's pretty cool, Pam.
Isn't that amazing? It's just a.
You'd use it like for like altering like alien skin or something, or
Burns. Burns are
oh really?
really, you know, like when you have an acid burn or something, you get some kind of a strange thing. For example, I'm going to put some, let me do the bruise and scar wax, I mean the bruise and effect wheel. Where we have our three colors. And let's just do some maroon in here. Okay, so if I'm gonna do that, could make redder. So this is what I said, this is your fresh cut. If you wanted to do something, you could make, could put that one on first. And then your maroon. And then you can use, you know, yellow, and you can use some shine on the top. I just did the cardinal sin. I didn't have my Visti Violet wiped off, and then I put it in my. And then you can create some shine by just putting in some of your it's hard for me to see what you're looking at, but you could do your either your petroleum at this point. And really, what I would do to do this is I would actually be looking at something so that I would know the effect that I wanted to do. Okay, so if I'm going to make it be a burn or something like that, I'm going to add a little bit of shine to it so that it would be. So you're not, you know what, I think you need better light. Here, let's try this. There, now that's a little better to see because there's a little more light. Now this is my latex, and you can see I've created a whole series of skin texture that is just much more rough if you wanted to do something like that. It's an aging technique, and then you can put some makeup on that as well to make it a more natural look. And then you can stipple on top. So let's do this. So that I have this, okay, in here I can see that it's, I need to add a darker color because in human life, it's looking pretty much the skin tone. And then this was the gelatin effect. So you could completely, yeah, it does look like leopard skin, or you can make wrinkly skin like that. So it's just two kind of interesting things. You can use also spear gum in the same way. You can apply additional materials. So the cheesecloth, this is not cheesecloth. This is this is just a mesh. But if you wanted to create animal skin, you could put this into latex and create an animal skin. So we're talking some real on the low down kind of ways to do things. Let's go back to our eyebrows. And powder them. And then remove the residue. And then I'll do one more layer, and then we'll be on our 4 layers and see how that works. Oh, that must be this one. So if you just look here, you can put this on. I'm just saying walk behind me, Wally, because the camera's here facing this way. So I'll put on one more layer. My hand signals weren't working, so I just had to say it out loud. And you can see that these layers are very, very thin. Before I take this up off of my tissue, off of my saran, I'm going to powder it for a last time. And then once this is dry, this will be the fourth layer. And we'll see about applying it to the eyebrow. Okay. Oh, I was going to show you on top of this some blood and something called fresh scab. What did I do with my blood? Okay, that was my problem. I took my tray out, so that was hilarious. So here's your blood. And you need to shake it up. And remember that when you're taking it out, there's no container in here, okay? So you don't want to stick a Q-tip in here. Don't do this. This contaminates your whole piece, right? So don't put it in here and contaminate. I generally pour it into the lid, and I'm going to do that away from my computer top, so I don't get it in my keyboard. But you can see it's quite liquidy, but there's a pretty good viscosity to it. So if I want to make a drip, and I think I showed you that before, I have to put a lot on and it would take a while. So watch the drip. Not really going to drip. See how it's wanting to stick? There we go. And the thickness you put it on with can create a darker quality. And if you paint it too lightly, you'll just get a bunch of red quality to it. So you want to be careful about that. The fresh scab, on the other hand, oh, the lighting is so bad right here, apparently. Okay, the fresh scab is a thicker blood, and there's also thick blood. Oh, I haven't opened this since last, there we go. So you'll see that is great. It does not run at all. And same thing, you want to get one stick or a Q-tip so that you're not, yes, a stick is a little better so you don't leave a fiber in there. But if I take this out, I'm taking out a piece of rigid blood that can then go on to something. And that part's kind of great because sometimes you want it to be thick and it won't fall apart. It can create a big wound just by putting it in the right place. So there's some kind of interesting things that you can do with blood, with latex, with tissue, with, you could stipple on top of that. I'm gonna get my sponge. And let me put this on, this latex, so that it disappears. So then that is a great effect. But it looks like I have a crater in my hand right there. So, you know, you can, there's other things you can do. I've had people use the Northern Scar Wax. And this is funny. Use a broken pencil and stick it through their nose. Okay, so scar wax, stick the broken pencil in that side and have it come out the other side. That's a 3-dimensional. I had somebody stick a can to the head. So we can look at all of those kinds of things also. Questions? You see, you guys. Any ideas? What do you guys
So
think you might want to do?
what do we need to do? Does it have to be
Anything-
bloody? Do you want
Oh, no
one of
blood.
each? Do you want
No blood. It could be old age, certainly. Anything that has 3 dimensions. So if you want to just create old age, you can do that. I mean, this is really great stuff for that.
and
you,
is that the latex that you were just pulling on?
yeah, this is the latex.
Or the
This is
that
the
you were pulling?
latex. So
Wow.
I can pull that off. Okay.
That's
Then
cool.
you see the hand underneath. And then I used part of the latex to go with the gelatin, and the gelatin will come right off also. But the latex will stay flexible. The gelatin will dry hard. So it's not as great a product for reuse. You know, like I couldn't use that tomorrow, but I could use this part tomorrow. If I powder the inside of this, I can reapply that. Let me just get this off and I'll show you. So, I mean, I can just wash my hand now. And that's the gelatin part and the latex part. And I can powder the backside of the latex. And then I have it as a piece for something. So that's very interesting. Let me just do a quick cleanup. And I was going to show you, how many of you have done fake tattoos? Cara, I'm sure you've done them. As well, cover them up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, covering them up is probably more of a problem right now. We've had to do a few tattoos, but I want to show you a couple things that this is again along the accident victim line. And I'll see about trying to get that video it was really weird. It was like, they said, come on over. And then I went over there and it was completely black. No one's there. Clearly I was talking to a computer. Okay, let's look at some tattoos.
Yay.
These are really, we've had to put tattoos on a wide variety of people for a variety of reasons, but you can make, for one show, I had to have somebody be beat up and they came back after intermission, but we didn't want to rely on just having them do the makeup. So you can actually get tattoos that look really great. They're simply, they're just temporary tattoos. You can cut them out. Let me get my scissors and I'll show you some so that instead of doing all that, if you just want to do this, that might give you what you want. So I like Tinsley tattoo transfers, Tinsley transfers. So you can go online. Here are a wide variety of tattoos that we've used. When we did South Pacific, we had to have everybody get tattoos on some way or another because all the sailors had tattoos. So you can get big ones. If you need that up a back or something like that. You can get scratches. And it's good to look at these in terms of the painting technique. You can see, I'll pull this out so you can see the technique because it creates, and you know, this is just how can you do it fast and cheap? So, you know, it just gives you a very cheap and reasonable way to get this on. You can see that it's got the dark red in the middle, the lighter red in the middle, then the darker red, then the pinky on the outside, and then the flesh tone. And if it was a deeper cut, like this one, same technique. You can paint this on your skin too, you know, but we had to rely on the actor to successfully execute this makeup every day, and there was not a makeup artist there. So it was, or the makeup artist went home at intermission or something like that. I don't know what it is. Okay, so I'm going to show you that, but there are other tattoos that are great for, going around the arm, and they can last several days. So if you're even in the shower, they can last 2 or 3 days. And then we had to do one that was, like this giant dragon. And what we did was we Xeroxed it. We wanted the dragon to be smaller. So we cut pieces out of it and folded them up, right? So that we didn't have to have that giant dragon. We just could have a smaller one. And then once we did that, we had our stencil, and we made him half the size because this was just too overwhelming for the actor. So you want to keep in mind how that works. Let me get a scissor and we'll apply a couple of these. So you want to do a little bit of a water after. So I got that going for me. Very, very easy. And in case you don't know what to do, the directions are always on the back. And you can see them in English, Spanish, French, whatever. So they have a pretty good adhesive quality. So I remove the clear backing here. Stick this on. We'll just do it on the hand since we're doing everything on the hand. That might not work. Press it firmly with dry skin so that the design is facing down. And then you peel the backing away. Let's see if this will work because I have a lot of stuff stuck on me. This was just kind of a random one, so hold on a minute here. You cut out the exact shape of your tattoo. Where's my scissors? Here we go. So I'm cutting it out. Actors love these because they're really fun. So I saw a guy with these on his neck and I thought, wait, did he really get a tattoo or is he just doing a tattoo transfer? Because he looked really creepy. But it was kind of before Halloween, so I was hoping that he was my neighbor. But that's kind of weird. Okay, so I have cut it. Christine, question? You have to unmute.
Kinda. I actually like to say something about one tattoo that you showed us.
Yeah.
That one that looks like a dog bite.
This one?
Yes.
What about it?
It actually happened to me. A dog bit me on my arm.
Oh my goodness, here, hold on. So, and it looked like that?
Just like that. It was surreal.
Wow.
A little bit.
I think that's kind of a, I think this is kind of, could be dog bite or vampire.
Yeah, I say it's more of a dog bite and I like to do that.
So let's see how this looks. I'm sticking it on. You got to pull it on, hold it on. Make sure you really get it on. These are a couple of years old now, so we'll see. But the other thing is, if you have a tattoo, you can try to remove one, which is really also great. Here's my wet cloth. Getting this to peel off is going to be tricky. I just really cut my nails short, so. Okay, working on it, you guys. Anyway, there are a wide variety of things to do, and I'll try and get some pictures out so you can see what they look like, okay? Let me come back to this. I need a little more wetness. To wet thoroughly. So I'm pressing this to my arm like this, but I'm not really using a cloth, so it's probably not as great a technique. Let's see if I can get it off. There we go. So it's pretty cool. The edges are pretty transparent, and you can actually kind of fade them away with just the water. There's a lot of them. If you go on Tinsley Transfer, I'll actually put their website up so you can take a look at it. And then I wanted to just take a moment and show you a couple of pictures of previous things. So again, you don't need to do a wound or an accident. So a dog bite is an accident, but you could do something like, here's a three-dimensional application just for a skin texture lizard look. And then let me get a pencil in the head. This is not a great painting, but a good technique of using using gelatin. This is creating a three-dimensional thing for an animal. As in an insect. I hope that I can get, well, we'll figure this out, because I'm hoping that I can get the bald cap video for Monday, because here's 2 student bald caps, like literally done in class. And for those people who know that bald cap can be pretty difficult, those are pretty good. And, but I'm trying to show you the one that is the Coke can stuck on the head. I mean, but there's all kinds of things you can do. Like this is one with the three-dimensional eyebrows and then painted. So you can do, there's a lot of things you can do. You can do anything you want. You could do age. Here's a fake nose. Nose and little tiny horns, I guess. So there's, there's a wide variety of things that you can use. Let me just get, Here's, it's just sort of a weird eyebrow beauty technique using nose and scar wax. Or this was a whole bunch of combination of things, but you can see spikes, bald cap with tattooing, and then a face tattoo painted on with hair. So a wide variety of things. Creating another dimension. Creating a third eye. Now her eyes look brown, so I think the brown would have been better. Creating a ripped face. So this is really just, there's nothing on the blue side and there's really nothing on here. It's just all at the edge. And let me see if I can show you a couple of other things that are. Here's a three-dimensional old age with nose and scar wax under the eye bags, and then the tissue technique on the jawline and face. So from a distance, that's quite effective. Here's the gelatin applied to the face as a burn victim. And again, because it comes right off with hair, you know, there's no issue. Everybody must have loved gelatin that time. Blocking out an eye with a latex, creating a latex eye mask and then putting the gelatin on top. So I still haven't found the one I'm actually looking for, which is, anyway, she had a Coke can stuck in her head with, I don't see it here. It's kind of funny, but you know, you can do a lot of different kinds of things. This is up to you to create something. Here's a great, just a little bit of a three-dimensional nose effect with a great paint job. So you see that the lips are closed, but the mouth is painted on, and then there's gloss added with then a three-dimensional green nose. So you, again, try to, and then even paint at the neck edge with that little bow tie. So think of a character, don't just think of applying something. Here's a Lincoln, and he applied the wart. And this guy was pretty interesting. He was an older guy. He had to do his middle-aged to be younger, so same guy. And then he also had to do an old age. Oh, wait, let me do this. No, let me do this. So that's a great variety of change. So there's a lot of, I mean, he did a lot of preparation and practice. So it's just, you know, something that you want to keep in mind and think about and see what's going to work. This was super fun, although it was a bald cap. I think it might have been a bald cap, but the painting created a great effect, and then the eyes were just closed, but you are looking at the additional eyes. So that's very successful.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Isn't that amazing? That's like just literally out of the class, I'm thinking. And look at the simplicity of line and using the closed eye line to create the eye outline, and then the red dot on top of the eye to create that shape. Another old age with dimension. So yeah, that one was really beautiful. Kind of funny. Stick something in your head. So, you know, you can do anything. And actually, you know, when you did your mermaid, here's another mermaid that was then the shells were placed on something. And then that was actually 3-dimensional, Cara. And then see around the edge of the nose, same thing. I'll move this back so you can see the rest of the whole character and get my head out of the way.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's going to involve a little bit of trial and error.
When are we doing this? Monday?
No, this is Monday. We're doing it Wednesday. We're doing it Wednesday. So feel free to incorporate any of the previous things that we've done. For example, here's a female Lincoln. You know, that's kind of interesting. And, but just go for it. Think about what you want. I mean, that's why it's kind of good if we could do it before Halloween, right? But we didn't get it done before Halloween. And again, we won't be doing bald caps. So you can, the thing about accident victim, you're going to do it twice. So here's a great nose job. And we did it in black and white. She was being Peggy Lee. And then I'm going to show you how to do latex. We have actually some forms where you can make latex scars too. So, all right. Everybody have an idea about what to do? This is a hand-drawn tattoo. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Tattoos are hard.
I
So
have an idea.
you have an idea. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's related to looking back, looking forward. I have a question if I can.
Oh yeah. So you guys, one more week. I actually sent that to my other class. There's one more week to view it till the 7th. And then you should turn in your play critiques. You have, I think, till the 16th, or did you try and turn one in and I didn't, it was closed?
No, that's not my question. It's about the actual, like, about the actor stuff, like about a wardrobe and stuff. It's like literally about appearance. So I noticed that there were nose rings, and did you want that? Like, did you
In looking back, looking forward?
Yeah. It was supposed to be like a formal event, and there were nose rings, and an actress had cracked nail polish too. And I was wondering if you noticed those things, and if maybe like it was just like a time crunch thing and they were pressed for time and not prepared or something.
So as far as the fingernails, that's something we generally talk to in the beginning, and they need to arrive with that. If
Okay.
there were times, as you know, when actors arrived actually after the time they were supposed to be on stage. So then there's not much we can do about that.
Mhm.
But as far as piercings, since it's a contemporary show and piercings are very common, most people don't remove them even if they're going to go to a fancy party.
Okay.
So that's a director call.
Okay.
I don't really have an opinion on if somebody has piercings and they want to keep them in and it's a contemporary thing and the director doesn't mind, then they're not actually playing a character in that show.
Okay.
You know, they're playing themselves performing.
Yes. Okay.
So, I mean, absolutely bring it up because you noticed it. And
Yeah, I did in my report, and I just been meaning to ask.
yeah, but it's important because if it interrupted the way that you saw the performance, then it should have been removed.
Okay.
Okay. So if it interrupts, that's my thing. If it interrupts the way you see the performance, it should be removed.
Okay.
Because that's the performance is the thing. And I think, you know, you're a contemporary, so you're in that age group of piercing and tattoo and all that kind of stuff. We didn't really cover up tattoos. Although I think if someone had had a big one on their face, we might have done that.
Yeah.
Just because that would be too distracting to the majority of our audience.
Mhm.
But You know, so I mean, nose piercings and eyebrow piercings, that kind of stuff are pretty common. And I think actually, I think both piercings and tattooing are on the decrease right now than from where they were about 4 years ago.
Mhm.
What would you think, Cara? Agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like maybe we reached the height and we're kind of slowly inching down.
Inter- yeah, interesting enough, like a lot of models and talent I work with have always been super aware of that. So most of them don't have any on their face,
Right.
which is great because it makes my job easier. There's some that may have old ones, which really suck because when you try to put makeup in, it sucks it in.
And they're so dark.
Yeah, you actually need like they have fillers you can put in, or even make some liquid latex to cover it up type of
You
stuff. 'Cause
have to actually, yeah, you have to
so big.
super moisturize and care for the skin first because it's been already damaged for years. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, people think that it's no big deal. And, you know, it's like, here's my favorite. Oh, I'm getting my wedding ring tattooed. And then they get a divorce.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But just, it just depends. For some reason, I also noticed it on the play more than normal, but I think because we probably were already heightenedly aware of like
Well,
the
that's,
plexiglass and,
but that's
normally
you guys should bring that stuff up and say, I noticed this. I had a comment once, a guy playing, now this was a character in a play. He is playing a producer, but it was in uh, it was like in the middle 80s. He had a diamond stud and the newspaper review mentioned it and felt like it was inappropriate. So, and I'm thinking, are you kidding? Have you seen producers? They're all wearing diamond studs or giant ones. But you know, that was a little too forward for that time period for the audience, and it was in Santa Barbara. It was too forward for the time period for this audience. And it does
Yeah.
depend on who your audience is. So yeah, that's totally fine. The fingernails or something, Colby. I really like that one.
Yeah, and some hair needed to be brushed more, but I think that was a lot because people were not prepared for their call time, and that really affected.
And we were very short-staffed
Yeah.
because we were not applying makeup to them. We were giving them direction on
Mhm.
what to do. And there was one situation where someone was like, you know, they were way late.
Mhm.
And
I've made dealers take off. They know the rules for World Series of Poker that they have to be neutral nail and no crazy makeup or hair. And I've made dealers cry because they go and get their nails done the day before and they
oh,
get really crazy bright green or
right,
something that clashes with the felt. And they're like, but I want it to look good. It's like, honey, it's your hands. And
right.
you're on ESPN and it's about the cards. It's not about you. And I give
Well,
them a bottle and I make them take it off because
yep,
it's distracting.
yep, that's absolutely true. And especially with poker against the green, you really want to have a neutral hand.
Right.
And I think about that for this class. I mean, actually, we had that in Antigone where Eurydice said, oh, and should I do red nails? And I said, no, you shouldn't.
Right.
Oh, please do just the most neutral nail that you can. In fact, you can go get a manicure and even if you have short nails, just get a tiny little French tip so that it just looks like neutral instead of something.
And producers and directors never think about it when you do your job and you take care of it. They'll notice it when it's wrong and yell at you.
And they notice it especially already after the shot.
Right. Right.
Then they're really mad because it's costing them a lot of money.
Right. But they never acknowledge the fact that you go through all that work to make sure you look for those things and take care of those things.
Exactly. And you know, you have a little checklist. You say, here's the things I do.
Yeah.
So, all right, my tattoo is still good. I'm going to wash it off.
You should wear it home and scare the kids.
I doubt it.
They're used to it by now.
No, I used to have blood in my drawer, but I took it out because they got into it so much.
Good.
That's funny.
Yep, very fun. Okay, we're done. Anybody? So on Wednesday, you're going to just figure out a character that requires some three-dimensionality. It can be very simple. It can be just a nose. It can be additional eye bags. It can be, you know, a wart. It can be eyebrows. It can be a very natural looking person that's just not you by adding something onto it. I just want you to explore what you have in your kit: latex, nose and scar wax, blood, whatever. And because we're not here, I mean, you can do nose and scar wax and stick a pencil through your nose if you want to do something like that. But because we're not here, you don't have some of the things that you might have. I'm just going to do, you guys were done with time, but I'm going to just try and see if I can get my eyebrows with one more layer of powder on them. And I'll show you what they look like. So here they are. And they're pretty neutral. I powdered them. Let me see if I can peel them off. This is my right one. So there's a great, tomorrow they have sent out a thing about election animals. So I'm going to send that to you guys in your announcements too, as well as the video. Did anybody not do the video yet? See the video? So I'm peeling it away from the saran, but you guys can end anytime. It's really, really, really thin. Here, there we go. Look at how thin it is. And I've powdered it, and now I have to powder this side before I let go of it so that it will stay flat. So you really can't do it up in the air, because if it sticks to itself, you're sunk. So that's why it's hard to do and demo, because you really can't let go of anything. So you peel it a little bit and then you powder, peel and powder. I mean, look, it's just like a fairy wing. And then this is my right, so I could put it on right here and glue it on and have my eyebrow completely disappear. So kind of cool. But I let go of it and then it's stuck on itself. So it's like there's no going back. This is where it's stuck and I can't undo it. It's too fragile. So if I do something, it'll just break it apart. And then it's too thick to put on my eyebrow effectively now. So 4 layers. I wanted to just put this part on. There.
So would you do like 4 of them in case you mess up one?
Oh yeah, you can do multiples.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I had, okay, so this one that I haven't peeled off yet. This one that I haven't peeled off yet. What you want to do is peel. Here, let me just get rid of this stuff. Putting it on your table, I'll describe it to you. Putting it on your table and just gently peel this up. And then when you get a tiny amount up, as soon as you have even like this, 1/8 of an inch, okay, I have to get my powder in there. Okay. And as you're moving it, and this would be better flat, and then I would powder. And then I move it another this much, and then I powder. Because this is really sticky. But you can still have your eyebrow be flat on the table while you're doing this, right? You don't have to be showing it. Let me just do this. Now, if I just let this snap off, it will immediately roll up on itself. So I'm putting it on my lap so I can get it powdered. But, and once it's powdered, it's still sticky, right? You have to be careful. All right. But now it won't stick on itself. And so this is the left brow. I have to look in the mirror because it's backwards when I'm doing this. But you can actually, they're very, very, very thin. You can see if I glued it down with spirit gum, it would disappear. Oh, sorry. I gotta go to the mirror. Because I can't look at and you can't look in your computer screen because your computer screen is backwards. So you have to look here. And then you don't feel like such a klutz. So you make it exactly the shape of your brow, you stick it on, and then you just do a little castor sealer so that then you can make it up. Castor sealer is necessary on top of latex so that the latex doesn't change color, okay? So there's one super good eyebrow. I would flatten with spirit gum and flatten my brows, and then this could just easily just stick right on there. And then you can take it off with spirit gum remover because it dissolves. Okay. But then you'd be able to, oh man. There we go. And then I could actually do a makeup where you would not see those edges. You can see how they would go away. Now, if you're doing a bald cap, you can bring your bald cap all the way down to there and get rid of your eyebrows completely. So that's what some people have done. All right, you guys, we should probably thank you for your patience and we'll just end the recording. Wait, did I record that or no?
You did.
Okay.